Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope you've all had a great Thanksgiving. Welcome to Awesomecast number 27. I am your host, Brandon the Awesome, and we've got a Marvel DC focus stream primarily tonight. I hope everybody is. I'm just going to wait a bit for everybody to pop in. Kind of get myself situated. Got everything. Edwin Vasquez 2509. Darth Homo acting up again. Yep, he's returned. Reviewing the most recent Disney Star Wars novel, which I was not aware was even coming out, but apparently it is directly linked to the masterpiece that is Revenge of the Sith. So, yeah, can't wait to see how they muck that up. Solar Voludon, welcome to the stream. And I do believe that a lot of people are going, way it seems to usually go. People kind of trickle in and, things start popping near the end. So we've got a lot going on. I may be able to blitz through 4 videos possibly if we have the time. So yeah, let's get started, shall we? Oh, I just got to share my screen. What am I doing? And we are kicking things off with Darth Homo with a Star Wars Master of Evil review. I'm just going to skip for his crappy intro, and here we go. Oh boy. That cover looks like crap. Like that for a moment that almost reminds me of either the crappy Darth Bane helmet he has in they gave Darth Bane in TCW or the burned up Vader helmet, but it really doesn't look like a Star Wars cover. Like the Star Wars logo doesn't even, it's not, in gold or in silver. Like it should be at least silver so it sticks out more.
The last few days, I got to pick up and read the new Star Wars book, Master of Evil by Adam Christopher.
Yeah, rather than read the EU, you rather read an EU novel. That just shows what kind of Star Wars fan you are. A fake one.
It takes place shortly after the events of Revenge of the Sith. It's in between the run of the 2017 Darth Vader comic, and it's about Darth Vader.
Oh, great. I get to see my favorite character of all time get destroyed. Absolutely lovely. Buying a Disney Star Wars book, authentic and fake fan. Disney Star Wars a lover. That is indeed true. He loves Disney Star Wars so much that he is willing to crap all over the expanded universe. Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. Fake fan.
So what are my thoughts? Overall, I enjoyed this. I gotta say, I love...
Fake fan confirmed. Fake fan confirmed. He will never learn. He enjoys Disney Star Wars, everybody. He literally just admitted it. Disney is Master of Evil, indeed. Welcome, Mecha G75.
The connections and the connective tissue and how it inserts itself into the middle of the 2017 Charles Soule Darth comic run.
A run that was canceled because that book got really political, if I recall my news correctly.
I also like a lot of the references it makes to just Sith lore with the Sith code and all that, Revenge of the Sith, that kind of stuff. Adam Christopher has really seemed to like doing that a lot with just this book, and I've read his Shadow of the Sith, and they both kind of love doing those little inserts and Easter eggs like that. I also thought it was cool that it actually started out with a prologue about Count Dooku in this last year or the second year of the Clone Wars, somewhere around there, because it has the super tactical droid in it. So that was kind of cool. That being said, though, so this book was announced, I think, back in like April, March or April, and when I heard about it, I was really excited.
You probably were the only person on planet Earth who was excited for it, because I literally have heard nobody talk about it. Like, out of all the Disney Star Wars crap that comes out, I think the books are like the least talked about thing, period. Like, absolutely. Like, I don't even know where they announced them. They are that forgettable.
Has been the Star Wars story I've been looking forward to over the last few months. Not really anything on screen or any of that, just this book. And when I learned over the last couple of weeks or so that Darth Vader was not actually the main character, but it was a new character who was an Imperial Royal Guard, I was disappointed, honestly.
Congratulations. It was another bait and switch. Why are you still clinging on to Disney Star Wars again, you moron? All right, I forget. You have no brain cells. And apparently, it's far too much work to read the expanded universe. Mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing. You don't have any you claim to be too busy to read the expanded universe. Yet you're going to sit here and read Disney Star Wars while it constantly keeps slapping you in the face. At this point, you're just asking for it, buddy. I absolutely feel no pity for you. I bet he subscribes to Sexplain. I would not be. It wouldn't surprise me. Like, at this point, hardly anything surprises me when it comes to these people.
I'm glad I learned that in advance, because I would have been pretty upset if I picked up this book and started reading it and learned that. I learned it in an advanced review from Star Wars Explained on YouTube. But
oh, you called it, Edwin. You called it. He actually does watch Sexplain. He admitted it. Damn. Oh God. You called it. You called it. That was. I did not expect you to actually have that. Predict that. But oh boy, you did.
Still, I think it was a missed opportunity. Darth Vader's at a really interesting point in his life. Because this is shortly after Revenge of the Sith. So now he's newly become Darth Vader. Everything that he just went through, that's all fresh in his head. He's still kind of trying to
Dark Lord, Dark Lord, the Rise of Darth Vader literally does this. And it does it way better. The Dark Time comics do this way better. The Darth Vader miniseries, Darth Vader in the Ghost Prison, Darth Vader in the Lost Command, Darth Vader and the Cry of Shadows, all of that perfectly, showcases Vader in that mindset of him transitioning from being Anakin Skywalker to being Vader. He's fresh in the suit. He's in the suit, and he's starting to adjust to his new position in the galaxy as one of the most powerful men. It's like, come on, man. Read that stuff instead. But you're not, because you're just going to read more dog crap, aren't you?
Figure out what's going on with life moving forward. And that's some of what we captured in the 2017 Darth Vader comic. But with a book, you can explore a character in a way you can't with a comic. And while
I may actually have to cover the Darth Vader comics just for the sake of seeing just how badly they muck up Darth Vader as a character. Because it's like, with the profile picture, it's no secret who my favorite Star Wars character is. You know what I think? Maybe he maybe he takes his supposed Star Wars knowledge from Sexplain and uses that for clickbait headline for his videos. I mean, it's possible. This guy doesn't really seem to demonstrate that much of an IQ outside of room temperature. Heck, I'd even say it's lower than room temperature in some cases, like with his 6-hour crapster fire. That was the EU debunking video he tried to work with, and which blew up in his face.
really love the work some of those comics did. It didn't really touch on it in the way that a book could have. So I was really looking forward to that, because I think out of all the points in Darth Vader's life, up until we get to the point between Empire and Return of the Jedi, this is some of the most interesting parts of his life that can be explored. And the fact that it was just, we saw everything through the eyes of another character instead of focusing on Darth Vader himself. I thought that was a really missed opportunity, especially since, when's the next Vader story going to come out? And between the comic run and this, like, they're not going to touch this era with Darth Vader for, I can't see them doing any more stories around that. So I feel like we missed what could have been a really cool opportunity.
Okay, then leave Disney Star Wars behind, you freaking Muppet. Like, it shouldn't be that hard for you to get Disney's stick out of your ass and, explore the EU. Is Vader's suit designed to hinder Anakin's potential to surpass Palpatine in terms of power? As far as I'm aware, it's designed to be weak to electric attacks. So Vader can stay under Palpatine's thumb. I don't know if he can actually surpass Palpatine in terms of power. He probably could, but it would take him longer. Because I remember I read Shadows of the Empire, and Vader, had gone to a point where he could use the dark side to heal his lungs just enough for him to breathe like a few minutes of fresh, clean air without the need for his helmet. Because he was trying to train himself to break out of the suit, that he wouldn't need to rely on the life support system anymore. So I would say it's probably like kind of a yes. Yeah, I would say it's yes. But Shadows of the Empire, really good book. Xanatos, welcome to the stream. Did Palpatine want Vader to overthrow him in the EU, as is the way the Sith after all? I don't think so. Sidious does learn Force essence, so he can transfer his consciousness into other bodies. He wants to basically unlock the secrets of eternal life. So I would say Palpatine didn't. Palpatine wanted to remain the one on top, the one who could, control the galaxy, control everything. So I would say, he didn't.
All in all, too, with that being said, Goth was... So the character is a Imperial Royal Guard named Halland Goth, and he's in Revenge of the Sith in the Plagueis scene. He's the Royal Guard on the right-hand side of the box.
Oh God, they actually... I'm pretty sure that was a character in the EU that they just, completely overwritten. So there we go. Another case of Disney absolutely destroying Star Wars.
The little opera house box that Palpatine and Anakin are in, which I thought that was cool how they kind of inserted him. And I went and even as I read that, I went and double checked that scene. I'm like, oh yeah, there is a guard, because I thought everybody cleared out of that scene. And they referenced that a couple times in the book too. So I thought that was cool. And he's an interesting character. At first, it took a while to get into him, but as time went on, I got into his story. And spoiler alert, obviously we're gonna get into spoilers with this book. So he does die at the end. He's got like a chronic illness that's rare, so it's not necessarily something that can be healed, and that's what fuels him throughout the book, is trying to get in touch. He's basically told to he's assigned to spy on Vader, but as he starts kind of learning the pieces of Vader's history and his past and what he had gone through, and realized that Vader's in a life support system, his goal was to kind of befriend Vader in a sense that he could maybe use Vader to help him discover some secret of immortality and how to cure himself, or at least like live, because he's a younger guy. But obviously that doesn't end up playing out. He realizes that Vader...
That sounds incredibly retarded. It's gone so bad that even Lego calls him out on certain story beats. Ha! When a toy company is literally calling you out on your bullcrap, you screwed up somewhere. In the Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader, Palpatine has an inner dialogue that Vader will never rise to the challenge to overthrow Sidious, and he has forced Vader to overcome his psychological danger. He has to force Vader to overcome his psychological damage. Okay, very good. Thank you, Edwin. It has been a while since I've read that book. It's on my list. I'm almost done with Labyrinth of Evil.
Lives based off his hatred, which I love that touch. It's hatred and his pain and all that, and that's what fuels Vader. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to live like that. And at the end, he goes down with a ship, which I like that ending for him. So as far as the book and the story itself, it revolves around trying to. So the prologue was basically Dooku tries to get this temple from this planet called Daiso, but he's tempted by the power there, so he hides it and he just kind of lies to Sidious and say, oh, well, it was lost in hyperspace. Really, the ship's actually sitting idle in hyperspace, which some of that technical jargon was a little harder to follow from.
How the hell does a ship sit in hyperspace for God knows how long? That doesn't even really seem plausible or possible. God, Disney Star Wars is so stupid. And Sidious wasn't able to pick up that his apprentice was lying to him. Are we just going to make it that Sidious doesn't know jack crap anymore? Like, did he just luck into being, the most powerful man in the galaxy?
But overall, the shaman who was on shaman, whatever, that was on that planet was still around and kind of causing issues. So Palpatine sent Vader out to deal with him. And Vader's kind of, he gets hints of this power and he's interested in it because of, he wants to resurrect Padme. So it revolves around the first 80 pages or so of the book is revolving.
Lord, I don't think Vader ever really wanted to resurrect Padme in the expanded. I think it was because they never really made it clear that he could resurrect somebody from the dead. Because of course, resurrection in Star Wars isn't possible unless you're a Force ghost. So, yeah. It's like you're going to have issues with what am I saying? I think I'm having a brain fart live on camera. Damn, I lost the thought. I am No, okay. No, I just got it back. Sorry. I am having I don't know what's going on. But but it's like why they have it that Vader is obsessed with resurrecting Padme. And I'm like, okay, why like they never make it clear that resurrection was possible in Star Wars to begin with. And they're just making it that he's clinging to Padme when the whole idea is that Vader lets Anakin die. As far as Vader is concerned, Anakin is dead and needs to remain buried. It's why he pretty much tries to avoid any semblance of his past. It's why he never goes back to Tatooine. He never sets foot on it. That simple. What would happen in hyperspace if a ship tried to stop moving without shutting down the hyperdrive, assuming it's possible at all? I don't think it is even possible. I think with hyperdrive, you're always constantly moving because it's faster than light speed. You can't really stop when you're moving faster than light speed. You have to constantly be moving. Otherwise, I would suspect you drop out of hyperspace. So it's like, it's not even possible. You can't really stop in hyperspace. You're always moving towards some destination. You can't just brake. You can't just slam on the brakes, as far as I am aware. That is just too dumb. Star Wars is dumb. Well, that phrase aged like a fine wine. Even Darth Homo seems so bored of this book and not impressed. Honestly, Homo seems bored with anything he does. Like, the closest I've gotten to seeing him having any kind of real reaction, and even then it was still very kind of neutered, was when he was attacking the expanded universe. Careful, Brandon, you nearly succumbed to Disney stupidity. Yeah, that's what you get when you're trying to defend Star Wars. Last I checked, it isn't the Speed Force. Nope. Hyperspace basically is like it's an alternate. It's sort of like an alternate dimension that ships can travel in to cut travel in half. Because honestly, if you're traveling at normal sublight speed towards another planet, that's going to take you a lot longer to get from point A to point B. But with hyperspace, it cuts time down significantly. I mean, yeah, sometimes it could take you a few days at most to travel and do. There's actually a very good video by Max of Zorro where he does discuss how the how hyperspace travel was actually handled back in the George Lucas era. So I should have somebody pull that up and reference it. I might do it myself while we continue to listen to Homo drag on and on and on. Because God forbid I actually find a Disney show that's actually entertaining to watch.
Around dealing with that shaman, and then after that it's Vader trying to figure out where this temple is and finding the place, and then Goth kind of has to Vader's on the run essentially in the eyes of the Empire.
What kind of stupid name is Goth? Like Goth just sounds dumb. Also, hold up.
Goth kind of has to Vader's on the run essentially in the eyes of the Empire, and Goth has to kind of keep up with him. And
why is Vader on the run? What the hell? Can you explain this plot more clearly, dude? Why is Vader on the run?
Locate Vader, and the whole like last third of the book is on this Techno Union ship in the middle of hyperspace, and they're trying to figure it out. There's some clone troopers there, so there's some Techno Union people there. Overall, the first 80 pages or so with following that Daiso storyline, it was a bit of a drag for me. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed. I'm like, no, I was so excited for this book, and I'm just really not enjoying it. But once they kind of get off Daiso and Goth kind of starts putting pieces together of who Vader is, he gets like a recording of the medical room from when Anakin becomes Vader. And then
why is there a recording? That should be top secret. That'll be top secret information. Because nobody is supposed to even know who Vader is. Vader is like one of the most well-kept secret in the Empire. Nobody knows who he's supposed to even be. And there you go. The video has been sent. I hope the link works. Because I swear, I honestly kind of, I'm kind of like winging it. I really need to actually find a way to invest some time into improving this channel. Damn it! Thanks for the recommendation. I'll watch it later. Welcome AOT to the stream. I saw a video where Jedi Plo Koon used a light side variant of Force Lightning. Force Justice. Yes. I remember I was reading about that in the Jedi versus Sith source book a while back. I get JJ. Oh, no. Yeah. He's got Funko Pops in the damn bag. I am so glad those stupid things are going out of service. Those things are like the biggest waste of space I have ever seen. And and this is somebody who collects Star Wars and Transformer figures every time he gets an opportunity.
He used to kind of go hunt down Vader, and the whole like part of the book that's on that Techno Union ship where all the parties kind of converge together. Like that, I started really getting into the story. And for the first half of the book or so, honestly, like until the story picked up for me, like any part that wasn't involving Vader was kind of boring. But then when Vader was there and in the story, I enjoyed that a lot more, which is why I wish they just made Vader the main character. So overall, I found the book enjoyable.
In Disney canon, it seems Vader is a secret to all except the higher ups of the military hierarchy. Why? Like the only person only very few actually end up knowing who he is. Why would only the higher ups in the military know?
I'm reading off my notes here. So, as far as some stray thoughts though regarding the story and its impact, I really love a lot of the trippy stuff it did with the temple, like Anakin fighting Vader and Vader seeing glimpses of his past. It kind of harkens to that Charles Soule comic, but it felt like
God, every time you mentioned a Charles Soule comic, my own soul feels like it dies a little inside. He's lying right now. He wants to say that's a boring book in storytelling, but he won't because that's considered negativity, toxicity. Lord, man, there's nothing wrong with admitting the truth. Just admit you hated the book and move on with your life. Being negative doesn't mean being toxic. Damn. It's called being honest. Oh, God, he has so many fake Star Wars books in the back. I'm seeing like oh my God, I think he has the Aftermath trilogy. I think he has the Aftermath trilogy. Oh, that is not good. Dude, you are not making yourself look any better right now. Oh God, there's one of the High Republic too. I recognize that damn logo. Oh no. Oh. Ah! Jorge Lucas, welcome to the stream. If I see Funkos in the background, I disregard everything being said. Shill alert. Hey, who's the shill? What's going on? Is there a shill in the chat?
it kind of shut the door a little bit on the Padme resurrection at the end, and I'm not too big of a fan of that because as I'm reading this book, I'm really liking how like I know this goes inside the story of the comic, so it's like if anything, it just further sets up and builds towards the ending of the Darth Vader comic where he enters like the netherworld of the Force and tries to resurrect Padme.
Oh God, don't remind me. I've seen so many pictures about that I do not. I can't. That was like garbage. That was awful. That didn't even look like Star Wars. Honestly, it didn't. It didn't look like it fit within Star Wars. I remember that collecting books used to be fun. Yeah, it can be fun, but now it's just like soulless corporate garbage.
A story I really love, but it felt like at the end of that in this book, it kind of closed the door on that a little bit. So I wasn't a big fan of how that was done. I also liked it includes Commander Appo. He's in. He's got a prosthetic leg from Revenge of the Sith, and then
prosthetic leg. Why? He doesn't get his leg cut off. The guy's supposed to be dead. He gets his head. He's supposed to get his head cut off by a Padawan in Dark Lord.
He's kind of Vader's like second in command. He's like the new Captain Rex essentially. So I really love that inclusion. And there's a part where like Vader, his prosthetic leg gets damaged and Vader fixes it for him. It's just the two of them. There's no other clones around. Appo's struggling to fix it on his own, and Vader kind of comes in and fixes it for him. I kind of like that because then Vader tells Appo's like, I live to serve the Empire, and Vader's like, no, you live to serve me. So I kind of like that a little bit, like Vader's bought his loyalty.
Dude, there are so many things wrong with that scene. First of all, Appo is supposed to be loyal to the Empire because as far as he's concerned, the Empire is still the Republic. He wouldn't, betray the Empire like that. Disney and Vader is loyal to the Empire as well. He doesn't. He does eventually want to overthrow Palpatine, but not until he learns all his secrets. Like, what the hell, man? Why have it that Vader is all of a sudden, doing all that? Why does Vader have to be like, oh, you only serve me. You don't serve the Empire. Yeah, it's just it doesn't work. It's so dumb and so out of character. All the Disney Vader comics are so repetitive that they literally have Vader return to the Lars homestead twice. Oh God. I don't remember when Vader tried to resurrect Padme. Nope, not me either. And I've read like a vast majority of Vader stories from the EU.
But that being said, like I also have some mixed feelings on Vader's portrayal. Like there's some moments where Vader feels a little too soft or a little like un-Vader like, where he kind of like gives in when people are like, goths like let her go or whatever, talking about this Daiso inhabitant that gets brought along and kind of gets looped in the story of the daughter of the shaman. Goth's like, let her go and stick her up for her. And it felt like Goth was kind of, I don't want to say ordering Vader around, but trying to work with Vader as an equal, as opposed to just a subordinate. But I also understand that, like,
hey, Decrepit. Brandon, hey, dude. I just read your DM. I went out for the night with friends. Sorry about that. Have a good one. No problems, dude. Maybe we'll stream together sometime later. I really got to start asking people like days in advance instead of like a few hours before stream. How does that even work? Vader returning to the Lars homestead? Isn't that supposed to happen between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope? Yeah, I think is that when the books? No, I think the comics are supposed to take place between A New Hope and Empire at some point, and that it's just so dumb.
This is a point shortly after Revenge of the Sith, so we're at kind of like the bridge of Anakin and Vader. Kind of, he's trying to figure out, his new Vader like personality. And I know that was part of the arc of the Charles Soule comic, and we're not at the end of that comic yet. That was part of the arc, was getting him from like Anakin in a Vader suit to the Vader personality. So it felt kind of weird reading it, but at the same time, I'm willing to cut it some slack, considering that. I also thought the ending was kind of weird with Palpatine. It was left kind of vague and ambiguous, especially since Vader was basically on the run, but then it kind of ends with just Palpatine just kind of like cackling, and then Vader just kind of walks off and business as normal. I also thought it was going to set up the rest of the Darth Vader comic, but it didn't, which, I mean, that's fine. I also thought the whole Techno Union plot line was kind of stupid, and I could have done without that. I was kind of like,
Isn't the Techno Union supposed to be disbanded by this point too because Wat Tambor died? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, anytime those were the chapters we were focusing on. But overall, I enjoyed the book. I had fun with it. And like I said, once the story picked up, I was really like into it and flipping pages. And like I said, I bought this Tuesday. I read the prologue Tuesday night, and then I blew through it the next 3 days and finished it today. Today's Saturday. So overall, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. If you're a Vader fan, if you're
that is way, way too high for this stupid book.
Imperial fan, I recommend picking it up. If you're,
you literally just said that Vader's portrayal is way too all over the place in this. Like, he's too soft in some scenes. Why would I, a huge Darth Vader fan, want to read a book that basically butchers Darth Vader? Idiot.
A Force kind of, you like the trippy kind of stuff, the trippy side of the Force, I recommend picking it up. You just want a good Star Wars book, I think it's one of the better ones in the new canon. So I'm going with 8 out of 10.
Screw you. At least you recommended a book to not read. Nice try, moron. And if you want a good book to read, chat, a book I would highly recommend is James. I closed it. I wanted to full screen it. By James Luceno, one of the greatest Star Wars writers of all time. The must-read sequel to Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. I highly recommend, if you can find a way to read this, read it. Very good book. It explores Darth Vader fresh. He's in the suit. He's trying to adjust. He's not really having a good time adjusting, but he's trying to adjust, hunting down Jedi. There's a group of Padawans that try to launch a attack so that they can overthrow the Empire, and obviously Vader puts a stop to that. It's an absolute banger of a book. I highly recommend you read it. It absolutely is, a follow-up to Revenge of the Sith. So definitely do read it if you get the chance. Oddball, welcome to the stream. Hail all, Dark Lord is the shiz. Absolutely, it is the shiz. Ron Shine is also an interesting yet underrated character. It has been a while since I've actually read that book. I actually do have plans to read it in the near future. But yeah, it has been a while, unfortunately. Yes, I've read the Revenge of the Sith novelization at least once. I've read the Matthew Stover novelization. Very good read. I should read that again now. All right. Now let's jump to this. Colton Ogburn. Is he one of the real rejects, or is he part of New Rockstars? He's part of a group that is trying to support James Gunn's DCU, which, if you know my thoughts, I do not think the DCU is doing very good, and that I think it's it's going down in flames, about even faster than the Snyderverse is, to be honest. So let's see what this guy has with James Gunn critics eat their words as the DCU triumphs. Hoo boy. Let's see what he has in store for us here.
I say all of this because I don't want to let these clickbait grifters whose entire business model is shit-talking movies and TV shows and pretending, oh, they're woke, whatever the fuck that means. Next, we have a question.
I wonder who he's talking about when he's referencing that clip, chat. Couldn't it be the fact that I actually watched a movie and I hated it?
From Michael Gracie. Hey, Colton, I too was disappointed with the Peacemaker finale, but I thought the season overall was another big win for DC. What is all of this I'm hearing about James Gunn getting fired because of the finale's poor reception? Okay, so we do need to talk about this this clan of dumbasses that think that James Gunn and his DCU are somehow a failure, and that James Gunn's days at DC are numbered.
Why the hell do you have a Darth Plagueis novel right there on your shelf? You don't deserve said novel. You don't deserve such peak fiction. Dude. Yes, he was indeed #triggered when he uploaded this.
And these claims that have zero evidence to back them up. Claims that are just another pathetic attempt at the years-long vitriolic, hate-filled campaign for Gunn that these same dorks have been on since, they tried to cancel him back in 2018. A move, by the way, that ultimately...
Okay, I love how he's... Where's the book? I don't see it. Let me gesture it. Can you see my cursor on screen right now? Because I'm gonna highlight it right where the book is. It's right here, right next to a Marvel trade paperback. Which, judging by the font of it, I want to say that's a Spider-Man book. But yeah, right here, Darth Plagueis. I recognize it because it's got the Legends label. It's right here. Right here, chat. Right here to his lower left.
It backfired because not only did Disney and Marvel bring Gunn back when they realized how idiotic it was to ever have fired him in the first place,
because they were desperate for cash, that's why.
But it's ultimately what set us on the path to finally getting rid of that awful DCEU and the slop that Snyder and Joss Whedon and Zachary Levi and The Rock were giving us with all the, we're changing the power structure of the DC. All this.
What the hell? I thought people liked the first Shazam movie. I actually like Zachary Levi. He was pretty good in Chuck. I actually saw all of Chuck. I still have to watch the finale. Why did I not watch the finale when I was watching that show? I am so weird. Snyder at least had a vision. James is just winging it. Yeah. It honestly was I've always said it that I feel that the DCU is just more of the same. I didn't want it to be true. I wanted to be I wanted to look forward to the DCU. I wanted to have something to look forward to, a new universe to really sink my teeth into, something that I could constantly keep coming back to and seeing where the story goes. And I didn't get that because Superman was an absolute mess of a movie. There were like way too many plot threads that were just kind of left hanging. There was like the space harem thing that doesn't really get a good resolution. Crypto was like one big joke. Like his whole joke was, oh, I don't really obey my master and I just, bite and I trash stuff. I didn't really like the portrayal of Supergirl being a drunk party girl. And the whole Jimmy Olsen for some reason having having like all that riz, just it did not feel, it was just all over the place. I do not think it's not the worst Superman movie ever. I think that goes to Man of Steel. But yeah, I did not like it. Cannibal the Dragon. Gunn put his wife as central character in his DCU. Who's his wife? You're gonna have to let me in on that. I had no idea. Cannibal the Dragon. But welcome to the stream, dude. This guy hates Mr. Grizzy. He hates Mr. Grizzy. He hates me. He hates pretty much everybody with freaking common sense.
Horseshit. And now instead we have the super successful and beloved DCU that really has yet to
successful. Then why did Superman bomb at the box office? Oh crap, he's got Funko Pops too, damn it. But okay, if it's super successful, why did Superman bomb at the box office? And why did everybody hate the Peacemaker season 2 finale? Okay. I actually have not seen Peacemaker, so I would absolutely not know. But seriously, she would be the central character of the DCU? Really? Get the hell out of here. Like, if it's super beloved, maybe to people like you. I know my co-host Kawil, who can't be with us due to personal engagement, likes that movie. But it's like, if it's super successful, why did it bomb?
Put out a bad piece of product. Granted, it's still early. They could totally screw the pooch on something that's perfectly within the realm of possibility.
Well, I would say James Gunn's already screwed the pooch because James Gunn can't keep his damn mouth shut for 5 seconds. He's constantly out on Twitter, responding to everybody he's responding to everybody. He's putting on, like, he's very insecure about people negatively reacting to his movies. So I'm like, what the heck? I don't see the DCU lasting very long. Jimmy Olsen's actor is also Officer George Stacy's son in the TASM movies. Get the hell out of here. I had no idea he was in actually a good movie. I'd hesitate to say TASM 2 is a good film. It's not. I mean, it's better than, the Tom Holland movies or the Spider-Verse films. But I would say, it's not perfect.
Nothing's perfect.
First ad of the stream. Yay. Muting, skipping, pausing, unmuting.
Well, the Peacemaker season 2 finale wasn't what I was expecting, but still the season overall I think was great. Anyway.
Yeah, and it got foiled with a bad ending. It's one of those shows, people. It's one of those products.
These recent claims, though, about the Peacemaker season 2 finale and the fact that it wasn't just absolutely beloved and that's somehow spelling doom and an end of the DCU, that is the most idiotic thing I've heard in this week. I was going to say in a while, but most idiotic thing I've heard today. But guys,
to be fair, Warner Brothers would try to plug... I mean, if Warner Brothers pulls the plug, I wouldn't blame them. They want to make DC into a successful property, and the potential is there. You have decades upon decades of great source material to draw from, but the problem is you want to be like the MCU. You want to try and play catch up. You tried it back with the DCEU. That didn't work. So you try again with the DCU, and that's not working out. So fire James Gunn and get somebody else to, hit the redo button and try again. Granted, it's kind of a dumb idea, but it's better than nothing. Now, whether or not, like the Superman sequel, or I think it was I think the Supergirl movie's up next, and then it's the Superman sequel. Which actually makes it weird that we're only getting movies focused on Superman and Supergirl right now. Like, I feel like you may have wanted to break it up a little. But whatever. James Gunn's running a clown show over there. But it's like, I wouldn't blame them if they try, if they try to like reboot and try again. Warner Brothers is lost. Keaton deserves better. A lot of actors over there deserve better.
A meh finale doesn't take away the fact that Peacemaker Season 2 was great. It doesn't.
That is a horse load of crap. Because a good story can often be destroyed by a terrible ending. Mass Effect Andromeda is probably one of the best examples of you have a great story that you're working towards, and then it completely gets destroyed by its ending. I've had that with Super Mario Odyssey, where, it was a great game and I was enjoying it all the way up into the ending where it felt like a slap in the face to me. A good movie, a good TV show, a good book, any good piece of media can be completely unraveled by an ending that fails to stick or feels like an insult to the audience. And that's what happened with Peacemaker Season 2. That's the thing that's what I'm trying to say here. You want the DC universe to be great. But the problem is James Gunn is just shoving his own crap into it. He's pushing Peacemaker, a side character, forward. Because he doesn't even really like Superman. I think I believe he admitted as much. But this guy is trying to excuse the bad finale, by saying, oh, it doesn't take away from the rest of the season. But it can, and it did for people. A lot of people did not like what Peacemaker Season 2 did. It's just a factor. That's just how it goes. If you want a DCU, copy the cartoons. They were way better than this crap. Absolutely. Yeah, all you really have to get rid of is Bruce Timm's fascination with shipping Batman and Batgirl together, and you're golden. Peacemaker Season 2 was degenerate crap, but that's the style that James Gunn likes to push forward. I thought it was just Disney who did that. Yes, he needs the dog to understand Superman. Oh, yeah, Crypto. Yeah, I think he put Crypto in because James Gunn also has a dog. I think he based Crypto on his dog. I thought, when he put Crypto in the trailer, that it was going to be an inspiration for them to embrace the sillier side of DC again, because I am a big Batman the Brave and the Bold fan. And that cartoon embraced, the goofier, sillier side of DC. But, that's not what we're getting. We're just getting, basically the MCU, but with a DC skin slapped onto it.
Take away the fact that it was beloved by fans and critics. And
I do believe that the response after the finale changed everyone's opinion on it, dude.
There's the
I would love to see you actually present some damn evidence.
Superman of it all. Now, I know these dorks who can't seem to do basic math and think that Superman lost money. Listen to me. Even if Superman wasn't profitable for the studio, which it was, but even if the film itself,
It bombed at the box office. How the hell is that freaking profitable? Ever heard of Johnny Dome? Friend of mine. His faith is misplaced into DCU. I mean, my friend Kawil is holding out hope that the DCU, my friend and co-host Kawil, he's holding out hope that the DC universe is good, but at least he has he has enough. He's enough of a man to admit when the DC universe is going to be an utter crap show. If it bombs, he'll admit it bombed. If it was bad, he'll admit it's bad. Something that people like this little pumpkin right here cannot, for the life of him, understand or comprehend.
didn't turn a profit. It was still a win because it cleansed the palate of the general audience when it came to DC movies. Oh, wow, DC can make good movies that don't have Batman in the title. And again, I say this as...
Except everybody was talking about the super harem storyline that was thrown into the movie. So I don't think they exactly won anyone over, dude. Jorge Lucas. This guy always looks dirty. Yeah, like the hair just doesn't, he doesn't look like he washes. A lot of these shows actually don't look like they wash. Yeah.
The guy who, I like The Flash. I like the Aquaman movies. I loved Henry Cavill's portrayal of Superman. But
dude, you seriously need to learn when to shut the hell up. You just admitted you're basically a fake Star Wars fan. Oh God, man, your dude's. I think he's too far gone if that's the case. Okay, I'm imagining that he just broke into some random guy's YouTube studio and is now filming himself. Is filming a video and putting it on a YouTube channel that he somehow has managed to maintain. I think that's funny. The Adventures of the Hobo Shill. Hobo Shill Baggins. I tried to make that joke work, chat. I'm so sorry. I don't think that landed. There's something nice about watching this while playing Arkham Origins. I wish I was playing Arkham Origins live on stream, but I don't have a capture card yet. Lucky me. Instead, I'm sitting here on my ass in a chair on a Friday night, entertaining 6 people. The simple pleasures in life.
But the DCEU, it just was not working. And James Gunn,
it didn't work because it immediately it dropped the ball right out of the gate. The DCU, yeah, I'll admit it fumbled the ball. It fumbled the ball, but it's still like not great. It's not the touchdown that DC wants. It's not the touchdown Warner Brothers wants. Come on, man. It's not hard.
And because these same dorks tried to cancel him in 2018, and what they ultimately ended up doing was setting him on the path to become the big boss at DC.
Now, how? Why was there? I'm confused here. Why the hell did people try to cancel him again? Give me a sec to look this up. Awesome. I'm getting recommendations for the Swarm War on eBay. Okay, offensive tweets on Twitter. Okay, it's that stupid garbage. Lovely. Like, who? Are you trying to lump in the people who didn't like Superman with the people who didn't like, people who tried to cancel him? How? Like, how does any of this relate? Like, seriously, explain your retarded logic to me, dude.
Did Superman make all the money in the world? No, of course not. But in total, it made about $615 million at the...
It's widely considered a box office flop, dude. Calm down.
Worldwide box office. That's about $55 million short of what the last solo Superman movie, Man of Steel, made, which, by the way, I love Man of Steel, but
Fake Superman fan confirmed.
have to remember when Man of Steel came out, if we're going to compare the two. Man of Steel came out at a time when comic book movies were thriving. The Avengers had just changed everything a year prior, and people were hungry for more. It also came out at a very different time for the movie theater industry. Movies were just making more money then. And DC, they were also in a good place at that time with Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, having just, come out like it had just finished like a year or two prior, right? And their brand was very respected and admired by audiences. And
hang on, when did Man of Steel release? Oh, no. The DC was not a respected brand. That was 2 years. That was 2 years into the New 52. Considered one of the worst eras of DC Comics, period, man. Seriously, do your damn research like I just did.
Man of Steel was just in a great position for success. But then Batman v Superman and all the other DCEU slop ran that momentum into the ground. And
I'm pretty sure people hated Man of Steel too, dude. Don't try to cover that up.
General audiences just didn't give a shit about seeing DCEU movies anymore. Now, Marvel kept things going strong for a while, but the multiverse saga, it's also ushered in some years of meh for comic book films. And
more like years of bleh. Like, ever since it started, it's been failure after collective failure. The only movies they had that were somewhat decent successes were all due to outside factors that really had nothing to do with them.
Really is a major difference in environment from when Man of Steel came out and when Superman 2025 came out. Man of Steel came out in the golden age of comic book films. Superman 2025 came out during the fucking depression of comic book films, and it still made just shy of what Man of Steel made. So no.
And it's considered a box office flop. Duh. Deadpool was right. You're going to have to remind me of what he's right about. I have not seen the Deadpool movies yet. I only plan on seeing the first two. There is no way in hell I'm watching Deadpool and Wolverine.
Superman was not a failure. That's a data-proven fact. 83% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 90%.
Rotten Tomatoes is not a reliable source, dude. Seriously. And show this evidence on screen. I can't just take you at your word, you filthy ticket. You filthy lying shill.
Percent audience score. And this is anecdotal. I admit that fully. But I have yet to meet a single person that didn't like Superman.
Congratulations. You met him. It's me. Me! I didn't like Superman. Me! You probably could find someone on X who didn't like Superman. Hell, look it up on YouTube. Oh, wait, you're going to write him off as a toxic fake. You're going to write him off as a toxic hater or some crap like that, aren't you? As we're going to see. You haven't met anyone. Rotten Tomatoes is indeed a fake source. They literally get paid to alter the ratings for their movies.
Every single person, both hardcore fans and casual fans who go to the movies like 3 times a year, people that I talk to outside of the internet, they have all said to me that they loved the Superman movie. The only haters of the Superman movie that I have...
Here we go. He's going to prove my point correct.
...actually encountered has all been online, and they are the same people that I could have told you 3 years prior to Superman even coming out that they were going to shit talk that movie. And I'm not saying this in defense of James Gunn or in defense of DC or Warner Brothers. They're all
clearly are
big boys. They can handle themselves. They don't need backup from me. I am saying all of what I'm saying right now in defense of fucking truth.
You don't have the truth. All you have is lies and cope. Like, you're coping with the fact that the movie bombed at the freaking box office and people didn't I gotta unmute this. This guy is just as delusional as his appearance as a clean person. What websites are more reliable for ratings than Rotten Tomatoes? I think maybe IMDb might be a more reliable source. I do know Rotten Tomatoes definitely is not. Unfortunately, Deadpool admits that the multiverse is doomed as a concept in Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh, okay then. That actually makes a lot of sense. I'm still not watching that movie.
Because today is a day for truth.
I say all of this because I don't want to let these clickbait grifters whose entire business model is shit-talking movies and TV shows and pretending, oh, they're woke, whatever the fuck that means. These guys, they're so pathetic.
You're pathetic, dude. You literally get paid to defend literal crap. And look, if you like the Superman movie, if you like James Gunn's Superman movie, that's fine. I don't think that's a movie worth gatekeeping over. And it's like it's not the worst Superman movie ever made. It's just not great. It's not that good. It's okay to like it. It's just when you are doing embarrassing crap like this that we're making fun of you for it. We're making fun of you guys because you are not, sincere with your reviews. You're not sincere with your videos. You constantly keep getting paid to do interviews. James Gunn was handing out interviews left and right to you idiots. Like the Real Rejects were wearing Superman shirts and actual freaking capes, and all that. It's like, that's embarrassing. That's the reason we call you guys out. If you like Superman, that's fine. Why should you have a problem with a guy not liking it? Like me. He actually said it. Time Machinery, welcome to the stream.
So attention-seeking, and I say that as I sit here on the Ask Colton show. But really, they've never had an original.
What the hell? Why is he doing that? Why is he trying to do the cutesy face?
Say that as I sit here on the Ask.
Why? Why is he doing this? I don't like this chat. Why is he doing this? And why do his eyes look like they want to suck out my soul and then turn it into, a little, I don't know, like a small thing of coal? They are fake. That's why we make funny of you.
Colton show. But really, they've never had an original thought in their entire lives.
You get paid. You don't have an original thought in your head. You literally shill for movies, man. You are one to talk. You are one to talk about us not having an original thought in your heads. You know what? I don't like the Spider-Verse movies. That's an original thought. I don't like those movies for a lot of legitimate reasons. I have been made public enemy #1 of the Spider-Man fandom because of it. Because I hate those movies. And I gatekeep people over them. That is me having an original thought. You don't have one. You don't have one. You have ad hominems. You have, oh, trust me, bro. When you say stuff like Superman, wasn't about, wasn't a flop when it definitely was. It's like, head hurts. Head freaking hurts, and I've got like 2 more videos to burn through.
There are man babies who are incapable of joy because they're so miserable in their own lives. And it's honestly sad because...
Or maybe it's because we haven't had really any good content come out in the last few years. The only good content I have been able to get was either old retro stuff or the brand new Skybound Transformer comics. I've literally had nothing else. Listen, man, if you like Superman, you like Superman. The problem is you get paid. You get paid. You get access to... You were in a freaking exclusive interview with James Gunn. I remember now. You were in a group chat, like a group live stream with James Gunn. You get special access. You get behind the scenes stuff because you're willing to bend over. You're willing to bend over and let them screw you in the ass because you You can't say anything. You can't speak your mind. You don't want to speak your mind. You want to have all of this behind the scenes bull crap, but all that does is make you lose your legitimacy as a critic. No one is going to take you seriously except for mindless sheep. This is why you guys have become the butt of every single freaking joke. It's the reason why so many people don't take you guys seriously anymore. And when you try to clap back at us, you lose because you guys don't even know what it is we're talking about. Superman bombed at the box office. Get over yourself. People didn't like the movie. That doesn't mean, they're toxic grifters or whatever. Try and read the room next time, man.
They just behave. It's like the way they act is human repellent almost. No one wants anything to do with them. No one wants to hang out with these people because
I don't know. I'm hanging out in my chat right now. People want to hang out with me. I don't know why you guys follow me, but it's nice to know. It is nice to know that, some people actually watch my streams, but it's like, dude, nobody wants to hang out with you. If no one wants to hang out with J.I. Acup. He literally has to pay for freaking subs. That's funny.
They are so unbearable to be around. And so, they find each other online and they sit around in their little virtual.
You literally just contradicted your statement. You said that nobody wants to be around them, yet they find each other online. So how does that work?
Circle jerk where they make everything about fucking their political agenda and playing the victim card at every.
Oh, screw you guys are the ones with the. This guy is projecting really hard right now. Oh God, this video is downright infuriating. I swear to God, I'm getting a headache. Oh, I may need to take an Advil after this. But no. What this guy doesn't get, you are the ones who've been shoving your political agenda down our butts. You're the guys who are, you don't care if they absolutely muck up the source material. You're the fake victims here. You guys are the reason that Star Wars Marvel Purist now has to stream on Rumble instead of here on YouTube. At least of Star Wars, wokeness is barely brought up. I hardly ever say the word woke anymore. I haven't said that in I think once in this entire year. What you don't like in others is what you really don't like in yourself. Cannonball the Dragon, thank you. That is very insightful. Give it up for Cannonball Dragon with that awesome piece of advice. I prefer Brandon over any show. Why, thank you. At least I know I have fans.
Fucking turn and crying, oh, that's woke about everything.
Dude, nobody has said the word woke in a while. It's funny because people gave me crap over a joke post I made months ago about a Spider-Gwen figure, where I said they gave her SJW hair and a lot of people started crying over me. And yet it's like you are crying over us saying a word that we haven't said in a long time.
They're idiots. And I feel bad picking on them because
I don't feel bad picking on you because you freaking deserve it. You guys have to be exposed and gatekept so that we can hopefully return to some form of normalcy again.
I'm going to be careful.
Here we go. Guys. I remember this. Guys, pay attention to what he says next. This is going to blow your minds. Here we go. Ready? I hope you're ready, guys. I hope you're ready. And let's go.
There's probably something wrong with them. And that's
and there we go. He thinks we're retards, chat. He thinks that we are retards for complaining about movies, for having genuine criticisms against stuff, for being able to have the balls to say something sucks. He thinks you're a retard if you don't like Superman. That is hilarious to me. Like, good glory to God Almighty.
Fortunate. So I don't want to come off as a bully, but
you literally called us retards, man. Just rip the mask off entirely.
Some of these guys, man, they have no media literacy. They have nothing but hate in their hearts. And if they had, any,
says the guy wearing a fake Tastic 4 shirt. For someone who hates retards, he sure acts like one. Absolutely.
Like genuine criticism of the media that they consume, they would make content that actually criticizes the movie or the show itself and actually goes into detail of what they didn't like, instead of just saying, oh, well, you see, it's woke and I don't like that because, I already decided years ago before I even saw this movie that I wasn't going to like it. So,
okay. Have you ever considered the fact? Have you ever even bothered to watch a single video of any of these channels that you claim to hate? These videos of people that you claim not to like. Because no one is saying that Superman is woke. Yeah, they race swapped Perry White and I think Cat Grant. But they're extremely minor in the movies, which I would have preferred if they didn't race swap them, but whatever. The movie is a mess. People genuinely critique these movies. You don't want to hear said critiques. You don't agree with said critiques. But rather than just let somebody have their opinion, you are out here attacking them. And guess what that does? And guess what happens? Those same people clap back at you. People like me. People like Mr. Grizzy. People like Darth Melvin, people who genuinely, people who generally are much more well put together than you. It's fine to like Superman 2025. Khalil, my co-host, likes the movie, and, I've accepted that. It's not a movie to gatekeep over. But learn to get off your freaking high horse and understand that this movie is not that great. This guy is definitely trying to make people feel impatient. He's just not getting it.
To wrap up, James Gunn, he isn't going anywhere, all right? Even if WB sells, which, as we're going to talk about here in a second, it's definitely selling. Even if they do sell, James Gunn and the DCU, they add even more value to that sale. So to all of these doors,
I don't think so. I mean, I don't want to make any assumptions about James Gunn getting fired. If it happens, it happens. I mean, I honestly wouldn't mind it happening because who knows? Third time's the charm. Third time's the charm.
Online that are pretending that James Gunn's days as the head of DC are numbered. They're delusional, okay? They're moronic and they're sad. And
says the guy who's been in denial this whole video. Good God. Get over yourself.
To be super clear, you do not have to like James Gunn or his DC stuff. That is
so why are you crying about the haters then?
Totally fine and acceptable. I am not saying that if you genuinely just didn't like that movie or Peacemaker, or if that show or movie wasn't for you, that is totally fine. But what you don't get to do is make up your own facts and pretend like it's failing and like no one liked it, when that's just not the case.
Again, man, you're the one who's made up the facts. You say Superman didn't bomb or that it did well at the box office. It bombed. Now, whether or not that had anything to do with the fact that people just don't care about Superman, Superman, people don't care about superhero movies because the MCU has been, straight up crap for years. Who knows? It bombed at the box office. That is a fact. You didn't present any actual evidence to the table to actually show, explain whether or not, the movie bombed or not, or if people are lying. You just sat here and cried for 8 minutes. Oh, God, the way he talks is reminding me of Sexplain. Oh, God, the Sexplain virus is spreading. They're all becoming one and the same.
Just say, hey, I didn't like it. Here's reason X, Y, and Z that I thought it was total shit. But don't sit there and pretend like everybody feels that way. Don't sit there and pretend like...
Ever heard of something called the vast majority?
Like, because somebody liked it, that means that they're a paid shill or something like that.
We have receipts that you are a paid shill. Stop trying to throw people off the set, man.
Be able to admit that other people liked it. Be able to admit the facts as you see them.
We do. Mr. Grizzy's done it, man. He's done it in his videos, on his streams, but you don't watch him because he triggers you. You only get triggered by his damn thumbnails.
Example. I like The Flash. I like it. I understand that most people don't. You will never catch me saying, everybody loves The Flash. No, of course not. Not everybody loves The Flash, and that's okay. I can like The Flash. I don't need other people.
Good Lord, this guy has really crappy opinions. That movie was crap. Crapola.
To like The Flash, I like The Flash, and that's okay.
If you like The Flash, you're a fake fan. Get the hell out
and
of
it's
my
okay for
Get
you
the hell out of the DC fandom.
Not to like Superman. It's okay for you not to like Peacemaker, but you don't get to then say everyone else doesn't like it, and if they do like it, they're lying. That just makes you come off stupid.
Says the guy who just came off stupid. Okay, that was stupid. Let me know what you guys think of that in the chat. People do that. I think Superman was second movie, not a good first movie. That what make it bad. Plus, Superman seems like a second character in his own movie. Okay. Yeah, I honestly felt like Superman was just constantly getting his butt kicked the entire film, which is like, he's the freaking Man of Steel. He shouldn't be getting his ass kicked all the time. Like, what the hell? Okay, I think I may have time for at least one more video. And this is going to be the one that I based the main title and thumbnail on. The MCU should never reboot by the whole shebang. Yes, because the last few years have been going brilliantly, now haven't they?
Hey man, listen, you already saw the title. You know what this video is about, but just please hear me out. Ever since Marvel announced...
That's why we're here. We're here to hear you out and then make fun of you.
They'd be concluding the multiverse saga with Secret Wars in the dark days of 2022, people have been speculating about a possible reboot. But since then, a lot has changed in the last 3 years. I mean, they originally wanted...
Yes, the Avengers movie, the MCU has only gotten worse. That's what's changed.
Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty to drop in the same year. This year! But despite those changes, the push for a reboot online has only grown more and more. But here's the thing. I can't help but really resent the
screw
idea
you.
of
Juster Bell did that joke way better.
completely starting the MCU over from scratch. I'm honestly not even sure where that idea came from because that's not even what happens in the good Secret Wars event.
Screw you. This event is... Screw you. Give me a sec.
That idea came from because that's not even what happened.
Okay, to be fair, if you liked it for Keaton, you're slightly okay. Keaton was like the only decent part of it, but that movie was trash. Okay, give me a second, chat. No, this event was trash. This sucks. This was crap. This is the reason why Miles Morales got stuck in the main 616 universe, and we haven't been able to get rid of that damn parasite. Rebooting the MCU just makes me think I wasted my time watching Super Slot. I mean, it's better than, just continuing after the DC just got ran into the ground. Give me a second. I'm giving you guys another good recommendation. Here we go. Do I want that or do I want the... Okay, I'm doing that. Here we go. Okay, give me a sec. Let me pull up another recommendation for you guys. This. Why are you so small? This. The 12-issue limited series. The original Secret Wars is a really good story. And I would recommend, because it's in trade paperback form, to go ahead and read it. Because this was an awesome storyline that actually does have some lingering effects after the movie. I mean, after the event came out. I mean, for crime's sake, it's where we got this iconic cover and this iconic costume. Read The Secret Wars. It good. Don't read this crap at all. This guy just outed himself as a fake Marvel fan. It looks awesome as hell. Everything else is man bazooka juice. Okay.
Happens in the good Secret Wars event. That comic ends with the main 616 universe fusing with the Ultimate Universe because Miles Morales gave God a burger, not a joke, so I don't see why people were so quick to jump to the conclusion of a reboot.
Because they could completely restart from scratch. I mean, literally, that entire event is about Doctor Doom gaining the powers of a god, of the Beyonder, and smashing the entire multiverse into one big into one big Earth. So why not have it that he, Doctor Doom or whatever, whoever the villain's going to be. No, I think it's going to be Doctor Doom. Why not have him reshape the MCU? Why not have like a Crisis on Infinite Earths type situation?
Anything, I think that a hard reboot is the single most destructive thing you could do to the MCU right now.
Because it's not like shows like Loki didn't already take a sledgehammer to the MCU. No free will and all that.
I fully understand that the MCU post-Endgame has had its fair share of ups and downs.
Where's the ups? Where are the ups, guys? Where are the ups post-Endgame?
Very, very low moments, but also some of its highest highs. Now,
Loki is not what you want to be showing when you're showing your highest highs. That show just makes me want to get high so I can forget that show exists.
we can talk about all the factors in and out of Marvel's control that led to those highs and lows, but that doesn't matter right now. What matters is that the reputation of the MCU has been changed forever. The once untouchable box office juggernaut is back to being the underdog, only this time it has more people than ever preying on its downfall.
No, it went from being the underdog to being the dead corpse that is still being kicked by the writer. Kevin Feige is the writer, the MCU is the horse is dead, and the writer is just kicking it over and over and over again. Christopher Barker, by the way, welcome to the stream. I don't know if I said that already.
A lot of people think that a hard reboot is exactly what the franchise needs to get back on track, back to the glory days. You can't see me right now, but I did air quotes around glory days. And while a reboot would certainly reset things to the status quo, it would also be lacking any sense of soul or creativity. They would be throwing away all the hard work they've built up just for the sake of trying to win over audiences again.
Okay, what's wrong with that? Win over the audience and actually try to fix yourself by addressing the mistakes you made beforehand. It's far too late to really fix anything now. You have shows like She-Hulk. You have shows like Loki. Do you really want to try and fix the MCU while having those remain in the canon of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Really? I don't think so. Because, God, I totally do not want to live in a timeline where She-Hulk freaking twerks with Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah.
Think it's smart to do a reboot unless it is your last resort. DC is a great example of a universe that needed a reboot. The DCEU was a mess of different creative visions all vying for control, a trinity that didn't really want to be there or should not have been there in the first place, and a history that barely made sense. And also, The Rock tried to do a coup. Yeah, remember that? When he just tried to take over DC for some reason and center it all around Black Adam of all characters? In cases like that, where your continuity is all over the place and completely unsalvageable, especially when you have a new creative coming in to take over, the best thing you can do is to start fresh. There was unfortunately no saving that universe.
At this point, there's no way to save, there's no point in saving the MCU in its current state. Fire Kevin Feige and get somebody who actually really cares about Marvel Comics. Hell, get me. I care about old Marvel. I love old Marvel. Get me to do it. Get anyone other than Kevin Feige. Rebooting a story is just being served the same slap you got the first time. I don't think so. Reboots can sometimes work. They rarely do, but they can.
But the MCU is a way different story. I could understand the push for a reboot a little bit more if Kevin Feige was hypothetically leaving, but there's no way the Hat Man dips right when the X-Men are introduced. Okay, they are practically his children.
What do you mean? Kevin Feige probably...
Marvel is still operating under his vision and has all their core characters intact with a through line that is clear to see. It would be a huge mistake to erase all of that just to jingle some keys at people who haven't moved.
Oh, shut up. They've been jingling keys in our faces for years in a desperate attempt to pull us back. Shut the hell up, man.
Moved on from the fact that we got a new Captain America 6 years ago. An MCU...
You mean a fake Captain America. The real Captain America screwed off. Doctor Doom is one of my favorite Marvel villains. MCU will ruin him. It's not even going to be actual Doom. It's not going to be Victor Von Doom, man. I cannot still cannot handle the fact that they just why? I love Doctor Doom. He's one of my favorites. He's so awesome. He is so evil, and he loves it. It's...
Reboot would be a massive insult to the last 20 years of storytelling. And if you want to see...
To be fair, like a good 10 years of said storytelling, I would not miss it in a heartbeat. Shows like Moon Knight, screw off. I want to see good Marvel again.
Then you better sleep with both eyes open. Or, alternatively, you could sleep with today's sponsor, Manta Sleep. Listen, I get you're all probably right now. Where were...
Ah! I hate the ads like...
Loki Season 2, I really love that sums this up.
Oh, God, he really is a fake Marvel man. Avengers, Earth's Mighty Heroes give us the best on-screen Doom. Yeah, remind me, I gotta watch that show. Wasn't Von Doom a tragic and sympathetic villain in the original comics? I know that his face gets scarred in an accident he creates himself, and he blames Richards for it. I mean, he has some tragic elements, like how he constantly keeps trying to save his mother from Mephisto, but that's really about it. Actually, speaking of Doctor Doom, I should recommend something else to you guys after this.
Way better than I ever could. So please just allow me to be uncreative for a second and have Loki explain why a reboot is an inherently bad idea.
And then allow me to follow up and kick you in the balls for allowing said thing to happen.
Easier to burn this place down and start from scratch.
Sure, burn it down. Easy. Annihilating is easy. Razing things to the ground is easy. Trying to fix what's broken is hard. Hope is hard.
It is so easy.
Okay, yeah, it's hard. But you will reap the rewards if you work hard. Don't screw up. What, you just want him to coast and take the easy path? The quick and easy path is the path to the dark side. That is not going to work. Oh, trust me, dude, the idea of a sacred timeline or canon like across the Spider-Verse, it just shatters the very concept of a Marvel universe. Doctor Doomed. I gotta go. I'm going to tell my family and take a break. All right, Mecha G75. See ya next time.
Easy to just start from scratch, run things back, and potentially watch the profits come rolling in. They could do a reboot tomorrow and there would be an audience there for it. But like, God, how uninspired would that be? Instead of trying to fix any underlying problems with the universe, you just destroy everything for the sake of it. All the hard work to get to this point here. So many beautiful character arcs and endings rewritten. And for what? So you can do them again?
Or they could take it in a different direction and not commit to the same mistakes they did last time. You know, rather than immediately jumping to the one era of Marvel that killed the company, they could, adapt decades upon decades of stories.
A massive cop-out.
They could make it that Thor isn't a complete and total idiot. They could make it that, they actually give Hulk the respect that he deserves.
To abandon this universe when the going gets tough. When it is infinitely more interesting to take the cards they dealt to themselves and make the best out of it. I want to see them make an
Dude, you do not want to be showing Thunderbolts right now. That is not the best they can do.
To focus on fixing what wasn't working post-Secret Wars. They need to go out of their way to highlight these new heroes and make sure they feel just as, if not more important than the OGs.
Screw you! You want them to bury the original heroes. You want them to bury Steve Rogers, Tony Stark. You want them to build up crap characters like Ironheart and Falcap. Not happening, dude. What you're asking for is the death of Marvel.
I'm speaking for myself here, but I'm sure there's people out there who can relate. I've put a lot of investment into the MCU, following these specific characters for the better part of my entire life. If they were just to erase all of that so they could reboot and start from scratch, I couldn't help but feel disappointed. I am in this for the long run. I want this universe to grow and change forever, not just restart every 20 years.
Too bad. So sad. Reality check, man. Wake up! Iron fart. Did I hear that right? I mean, I was tempted to say that. Maybe I accidentally said that out loud when I was meant to say her actual name, but hey, it works for me.
And that is what annoys me the most about a reboot. Throwing out all the fresh storytelling potential of this new crop of characters just...
How the hell is any of that fresh? Like, what are you talking about, man? I am flabbergasted.
To reheat the Infinity Saga's nachos. I have zero interest in seeing another Iron Man trilogy. We've been there and done that. And while there is definitely room for improvement there, that's in the past. I don't think it's smart to spend time, money, and investment on doing things over again for the sake of nostalgia.
Enter a world of VR.
Oh, God, I forgot Deadpool's getting a VR game. Yeah, too bad. Yeah, thing is, I don't play VR, really. What am I looking at right now?
Much better to just let the past die. Kill it off.
Oh, God, if you're referencing Kylo Ren, you'll immediately lose any valid credibility.
The MCU has done everything in its power to move away from the shackles of the Infinity Saga. And while the return of RDJ as Doctor Doom concerns me that we've already started leaning back into nostalgia, I hope it's nothing more than a one-off. I could not tell you.
Dude, we have been stuck with nostalgia bait for the better part of a few years now. That's what the multiverse has been doing. They brought back Patrick Stewart as Professor X in the EU movies. No, wait. What am I talking about? The Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. That was them, dangling the keys. They're bringing in the original Fox X-Men for Doomsday.
You how disinterested I would be in seeing Steve Rogers' story again. And that's coming from someone who can proudly say that Steve Rogers is my favorite character of all time.
Yet you want to see him dead and buried. Isn't that right?
Arc over the course of the MCU was just about as perfect as it could be. Why bother tarnishing that just to do it again? You just spent all this time building up to new characters, so let's keep doing that instead.
Except nobody likes the new characters, dude. That's what you got to understand. Marvel adapted some of the worst heroes from their catalog, and look what's happened. Look at the current state of the MCU. It's the MCU. It's dead.
Despite the fact that the multiverse saga has been running for 6 years now, it still feels like we're at the start of a new era due to how little we've seen of these characters. Sam Wilson has appeared as Captain America in 2 projects this saga, which
And
is
they both sucked.
crazy. I guess also that one episode of What If, but that doesn't really count. Captain America should be all over this universe, and Marvel hasn't exactly been doing him justice. It would be so
That's not Captain America. Why are you calling him by his false name? Oh, right, I forgot. You're a fake Marvel fan. That's why.
unsatisfying if Sam Wilson spent all this time earning the mantle of Captain America only to reset and go back to being Falcon. That is incredibly regressive. And
is very justifiable.
I mean, sure, you could have 2 Captain Americas active at the same time. The comics are currently doing that.
And it's absolutely horrendous because Captain America has now fallen to the Spider-Man curse. We can't get rid of the new character, so just put them both in at the same time. Surely people won't be confused.
I don't think you can do that in the MCU until you've solidified Sam's place in the universe, which they have most certainly not done yet. And the same goes for
and never will, because nobody gives a crap. Let me guess. People call you racist for hating on Sam Wilson being Cap. Yep, I've had people call me racist for that.
These other heroes. They've barely had the spotlight for 5 minutes. It would be so disgraceful.
They barely had the spotlight for 1 minute because nobody's paying attention anymore. All of these characters are awful.
To take it away from them just to give it back to All Reliable. The most a character has been seen up to this point in live action is someone like Yelena with 3 appearances, and that dwindles in comparison to even some side characters of the Infinity Saga. The MCU has introduced a lot of new heroes over the multiverse saga, and while it brought tons of fan favorites to the screen, it also means that we have to go longer without seeing them. The solution to that is not restarting and making sure we don't see them for another 10 years.
No, the solution is restart so that you can get rid of the crappy new characters that absolutely nobody likes, going back to the characters that worked and taking it in a better direction. Exactly. It's like having Bruce and Terry be Batman at the same time. It just doesn't work. Not everyone can be the freaking Green Lantern. Yeah, Yelena sucks. Like, her actress has no charisma at all.
What kind of sicko would want to go 10 years without seeing Kate Bishop? Those people...
Every single freaking person with common sense. Why did you call him a sicko? You're the sicko.
Years. What kind of sicko would want to go 10 years without seeing Kate Bishop? Those...
Me! I'm the sicko. I admit it right here. You've heard it, folks, right here on Awesomecast. Brandon the Awesome has admitted to being a sicko because he doesn't want to see Kate Bishop, aka Discount Hawkeye, in the MCU for 10 years. I don't want to see her, period.
People are my enemies for life. Think about all these...
Oh, congratulations. I get to keep kicking you in the balls over and over again on this channel. You're going to be a reoccurring favorite.
Storytelling potential we have barely scratched the surface on with these heroes. I would argue that they all have higher ceilings than the old characters due to how far the MCU has come as they've been embracing the comics more and more, and would like...
They've been embracing the comics less and less. What the hell? What are you talking about, man? Oh my god. This guy's indoctrinated into the Disney Marvel Matrix. Don't use characters like Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop, the New Avengers. They haven't sold worth a crap. They don't sell comics. Don't use them.
I'd like to see that play out on screen, please, and thank you. There is easily at least 20 more years of storytelling with these characters alone. We could see another Captain America trilogy, an entire
which will bomb.
Supernatural saga with the rise of the Midnight Suns,
which will bomb.
The Young Avengers taking that torch and lighting up the future, and
which will bomb.
Eternal sequel, please. I'm never gonna give up hope. Christ.
Oh my god, this guy is he wants an Eternal sequel? What? Oh my god, I picked the jackpot of idiots.
We still haven't seen Beta Ray Bill yet. I refuse to reboot and get another Thor before we see Beta Ray Bill.
Okay, you can probably get him later. But we need to reboot. Give me a second. Carad. Also, Beta Ray Bill always confused me in the comics, but I have to read him yet first. Calling the Thunderbolts the new Avengers is totally embracing the comics. Right, sure. How about no? Make Captain Marvel back into Miss Marvel and put her in that old sexy costume. Exactly. That's what I want. I want them to embrace the comics more. They haven't been doing that. They never will do that in this current state.
The MCU starting over with all of their characters is tempting to a lot of people. It's truly sad that we're never going to get to see characters like Tony Stark and Reed Richards in the same room as each other. But have you considered that
That's not even Reed Richards. That's Pedro Pascal.
on the other end, we can avoid seeing something like Steve Rogers interacting with the X-Men? You know how much better it would be if we could just avoid him being weirdly racist anytime that happens?
You do know that not every aspect of the comics is great and needs to be adapted, right? Good
But
lord.
for real, I do get
Cherry picking, am I right?
that temptation. It's an exciting idea to see how things would differ when Marvel has all of their characters from the beginning, except for anything involving the Hulk,
A standalone Hulk movie will never happen.
because
Because the Marvel hates the Hulk.
Universal will never let us be happy. Rebooting things with a universe that is whole is very tempting, but I don't think it's worth it. I'm not willing to sacrifice
Because you're an idiot.
dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens, and wow, they've really introduced a lot of new heroes.
And all of them suck. Imagine that. Like, look, even Christopher Barker. I forgot about Eternals. I keep forgetting the Eternals exist. I only remember them because they couldn't even have the balls to say Captain America. They had to call him Captain Rogers.
Don't want to get rid of any of them just so we can see a few new dynamics on screen. If you want to
We just want to see Marvel be more comic accurate.
see that, go read the comics. There are just so many of them. I promise you will never run out. I think it's
Exactly. Why can't they just adapt those, you idiot?
a much more interesting and fun creative challenge to see how Marvel can adapt to introducing the Fantastic Four and the X-Men at this point in the universe. It's what makes an adaptation so special and forces them to do something new when they can't rely on tried and true dynamics. The biggest reason, though, that I don't want to see a hard reboot is that the MCU can achieve something the comics can't: finality. Comics have to go on forever. No matter what changes you make or how many characters are killed off, for better or very much so worse in this case, we always
Screw you for bringing up one more day.
find our way back to the status quo. There's a reason the saying, nobody stays dead in comics besides Uncle Ben, Jason Todd, and Bucky has aged so poorly. It's honestly only a matter of time before Marvel brings back Uncle Ben and gives him a symbiote.
Why are you referencing the Mary Jane having Venom? I did not need to be reminded of that.
Comic book medium is so fantastical and flexible that people come back all the time. It's just expected at this point. That's not really something you can pull off in live action without it feeling unsatisfying. Then there's the fact that nobody really ever ages in comics. Unless you're a kid or trapped in an old man universe, you're not really going to ever have a birthday. Characters can stay in one static place for years in the comics without any real changes, but live action is a completely different story.
Okay, yeah, but the reboot is necessary because Marvel screwed the pig so badly.
We are dealing with real people here. Actors who are going to age and eventually want to stop making these movies and shows. The MCU is practically forced to embrace finality with its approach to storytelling. It's exactly why we saw them write out Tony, Steve, and Natasha all those years ago. Also because those three are not cheap. I'm pretty sure they have to pay Robert Downey Jr. the salary of a small country for 5 minutes of his time at this point. That's just not feasible, and another thing that incentivizes giving characters an ending. Closure is the defining difference between the comics and live action, I guess, besides the fact that one is a drawing and the other's in real life, but something I think the MCU desperately needs to embrace. Use the idea of finality as an outline to inspire them, with this ticking clock looming over their head, knowing that they will have to give these characters closure one day, and to make the most of it while they still have them. That way, when the MCU does inevitably end one day, probably due to a nuclear apocalypse, they can hopefully end things in a satisfying way.
Yeah, they already screwed the pig. That's why why nobody cares anymore. Again, dude, you're not seeing the bigger picture. You're living in this delusional world where you think people just want to see more of the very characters that basically helped kill the Marvel Universe to begin with. That isn't very much not the case. It's simply not going to happen.
The universe should not be designed to last forever in the same way that the comics are. I want to see actors age out of their roles and either ride into the sunset or pass the torch on to the next generation. I love the idea that the MCU can be broken up into different definitive chapters of stories. The Infinity Saga was their golden age, setting up iconic symbols and heroes to inspire the next generation during the Multiverse Saga. I would much rather continue to see them do more of that than just restart and undo all the good they did establishing the idea of finality. So if the MCU isn't going to do a full reboot, what should they do? Because changes do have to be made. How are they supposed to resolve things at the end of Secret Wars in a way that allows the Fantastic Four and the X-Men to exist in the sacred timeline? It's very...
Scrap the multiverse saga and start over. But that means they would have to end the MCU. I don't think they want to stop making money. It's like wanting to see an Ahsoka series after all the OG characters are dead. Oh, wait. You got him there. Apathy is death of a franchise. Exactly. Something this guy can't seem to understand.
simple, actually. You just do a soft reboot.
I say restart from the multiverse saga and forget that ever happened. And just embrace, like, take another major big bad from the comics and set them up.
Right, I'm pro reboot, just not in the way you think. A soft reboot is a way to freshen things up without removing the old continuity. It doesn't erase things from the past, but it adds on to the future enough to make it feel like a whole new era. Daredevil Born Again is a great example of a soft reboot. It
is also a terrible example of a soft reboot. Good Lord, you just keep piling on the crap accusation. Like, the idea of you being a fake, you're not exactly doing a good job of throwing off the MCU, the fake Marvel fan accusations.
Directly connected to the Netflix series, but brings with it a ton of changes that make it feel like its own thing. And while we can argue all day long if that was a good idea or not, it doesn't change the fact that it was a successful execution of a soft reboot. What I'm saying is that
it's still crap.
Marvel already has experience dealing with soft reboots and should apply those.
He just contradicted himself.
Lessons to the future of the universe. And honestly, I think they will. Back in July, Marvel held a private event with the press where they gave them updates on what's happening. We got a whole lot of news from that, but this nugget of information here was the most interesting to me. Kevin Feige specifically said that reboot is a scary word. Reboot can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Reset, singular timeline, we're thinking along those lines. The X-Men is where that will happen next. So if you saw a quote going around saying that he confirmed a full reboot, I fear you were lied to. Deadline misappropriated the original quote when he specifically wrote off the idea of a reboot, and that's good. I literally just spent the last 10 minutes telling you why.
And you completely missed the point of why so many people want a reboot to happen. You're acting like people just want to see more of this crap.
Reset is a much more fitting idea as they establish a new status quo without removing any of the MCU's history. So what changes should be allowed?
First of all, get rid of all of the brand new characters. They absolutely suck balls. Wipe away all their shows in movies and adapt, and flesh out the characters that barely get an opportunity to be characters, like the Hulk. I mean, granted, you should recast Mark Ruffalo because he sucks. But again, focus on making another good Hulk movie. Focus on making, War Machine more of a character. You have potential. You're just not using it.
Starters, the most obvious thing, and the one that Kevin Feige just hinted at himself, is to introduce the X-Men to the MCU. You can make it so He Who Remains remove them from the timeline because he's mutant phobic or something. Their reintroduction can retroactively add in characters like Wolverine and Magneto who have
that is so stupid.
Fixed histories tied to wars and the Holocaust, while we have our first class fully established with a new generation ready to go as we enter the mutant saga. I also assume this is how they will bring over the Fantastic Four as Secret Wars merges Earth 828 with Earth 199999. Yeah, I'm on Aman Vellani's side. Kevin cannot make me call it 616. But it will effectively...
Okay, at least she's kind of based. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a pretty good show. MCU ignored. Jurassic World is an example of a bad soft reboot while trying to take place in the same timeline in which the 1993 Jurassic Park films take place. That's plenty of proof that bad soft reboots exist. Exactly.
resemble the 616 universe much more in this new era. That way, the Fantastic Four, X-Men, and every other MCU character can finally live together on the same Earth. 20 years of missing pieces filled in as the MCU is able to move forward with everyone together at long last.
Too bad that they completely screwed up the Fantastic Four, and they're most likely going to screw up the X-Men. Meaning, we don't want to see those versions of those characters in the universe.
It also much more closely resembles the Secret Wars comic, as we have
Screw
a universe
you!
merge rather than
Screw
starting
you!
over like
No, we don't want this to happen. I don't want to see Miles Morales ever again in a major timeline.
some people want for some reason. The stakes of Secret Wars only work if you have multiple universes to care about, and then merging them together is a great way to naturally create a jumping off point for the next era of storytelling. We don't have to stop there either though, as I am willing to allow some recasts. Like I said earlier, actors are going to age and want to be done with the MCU. Give everyone who wants one an out here and recast in this new universe with younger actors playing the same characters in continuity who want to continue telling stories into the future. Someone like Chris Hemsworth isn't going to be able to play Thor forever, especially if he gets killed off in Doomsday, which I'm
Chris Hemsworth doesn't even want to do the role anymore because of how terrible the last movie was.
almost certain will happen, but until then, we ball. Small changes like that to ensure the future are perfectly okay with me. Just don't bring old characters back for the sake of it. I do not need to see Tony Stark or Steve Rogers ever again in the MCU.
Further confirmation, he doesn't want to see real Marvel characters in the MCU ever again. He doesn't want the MCU to return to its former glory. He wants it to die a horrendous death.
People who died should stay dead, except for Quicksilver. I still don't know why they killed him off, with a gun no less. How is the speedster gonna be the guy who gets shot by that many bullets? He looks like Swiss cheese, man. They made him a fraud. If the MCU wants to last for the foreseeable future, then they need to keep the sturdy foundation they've already built for themselves.
Too bad they already ripped it out from under them and everything's collapsing on top of them.
I think it's always going to be better to continue with these established characters and tell their stories. It's not worth sacrificing the untapped potential they have just so we can see characters together on screen. Marvel should accept the challenge of making this universe merger work and give us something new that we couldn't see in any other medium. Embrace the ugliness of the MCU and put in the work to fix it, all while bolstering what
Okay, if you embrace the ugliness, nobody's actually going to watch. We're just going to walk away. Jedi Prime, welcome to the stream. Let's not forget the MCU also ruined Spider-Man and all of his friends and own villains. Absolutely. I still don't want to. I've already embraced that truth. More people need to do that.
It's already been succeeding. I promise you, the results will be infinitely more rewarding than just scrapping what wasn't working.
Ooh, I can't wait to see how that. If they ever followed that idea, I'm going to love watching your reaction when it blows up in your face.
Being said, I will give you Secret Invasion. The sooner we remove that series from canon, the better. I specifically want a scene where they look straight at the camera and remove this mistake of a show forever, okay? If I have to think about it again...
How is it that you hate Secret Invasion, but not something like She-Hulk? What the hell? What logic does that make? She-Hulk's arguably worse. I think I've embraced enough stupidity for one night, chat. I think it's time to wrap things up. I already gave you at least 2 recommendations for this stream. 2 awesome recommendations. So, the Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader book. Excellent book by James Luceno. If it has James Luceno's name on it, it's an absolute banger with amazing callbacks to prior expanded universe works. The original Marvel Secret Wars, which was an awesome, heroes versus bad guys kicking butt. That is a great story. Go ahead and find it and read it. But until then, remove stuff from canon that I don't like. Okay. Yeah, you can tell this guy's just selfish. Until next time, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, share the stream, and I will see you all next time on the Awesomecast. Goodbye, and be awesome.